You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show, the Tuesday edition on this 14th day of October. It's so wonderful to have you with us here on 702. I hope you are well this morning and I hope you're ready for the day ahead. Please, can you say some prayers and send some positive vibes for Bafana Bafana? They're playing Rwanda at Mbombela Stadium tonight. It's the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. It's a do or die, guys. We need to win this game and we need Nigeria to beat Benin. So please do what you gotta do, okay? But send some positive vibes. Do what you gotta do. Pray for them. Speak to your ancestors. Just fast if you have to, because we need this one. Is the war over in the Middle East? That's the question this morning. US President Donald Trump believes that it is. He has declared that the war is over. So far, it looks like the peace deal that he has proposed and championed is holding. All 20 living hostages were released by Hamas. I mean, the visuals of those hostages reuniting with their families were extraordinary. It was a day of celebration. It was a day of closure. The bodies of the 4 deceased hostages were released as well. In return, Israel released about 2,000 or so Palestinian detainees, the vast majority of which were held without being charged. So yesterday was quite historic. It was momentous. Whether you like President Donald Trump or not, he has done something here that other world leaders, the United Nations included, failed to do. This is probably his biggest diplomatic achievement yet. He brought on the table these opposing partners and got them to agree on some kind of a peace plan. Whether that's going to hold or not, we wait to see. But his peace plan has led to the release of the hostages. His peace plan has led to Israel pausing on this onslaught on Gaza. Now the focus is on the post-war plan. It's all great that prisoners and hostages have been exchanged, but what's the plan for Gaza? I saw some world leaders attending a meeting in Egypt and signing an agreement to cement this Gaza peace plan. The Egyptian president, in fact, said that he will host a conference on the reconstruction of Gaza. So they want to clear the rubble in Gaza. They want to rebuild homes, set up infrastructure, etc., etc. But there's still questions around how you govern and police Gaza. Because Israel wants Hamas to disarm, but Hamas is refusing to do that. Israel, in my understanding, still doesn't want a two-state solution. So what exactly is the plan? By the way, I must say, what was not so much shocking but interesting to observe was how President Trump, as he addressed Israel's parliament yesterday, he was so nonchalant about the weapons the US has been supplying to Israel to commit these war crimes in Gaza. He didn't even flinch when he said this.
I can tell you we have weapons that nobody's ever dreamt of. I only hope we never have to use them. I rebuilt the military. I was proud to do it, but some of the things I hated to do, I hated certain of the weapons because the level of power is so enormous, it's so dangerous, so bad. But we have to do what we have to do. We make the best weapons in the world, and we've got a lot of them, and we've given a lot to Israel, frankly. And I mean, Bibi would call me so many times, can you get me this weapon, that weapon, that weapon? Some of them I never heard of, Bibi, and I made them. But we'd get them here, wouldn't we? And they are the best. They are the best. But you used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them. And you obviously used them very well. But
so cringy. It's so cringe-worthy. Like, you know how many children have died in Gaza? Do you know how many innocent people have been murdered in Gaza by the same weapons that Donald Trump speaks of? And he says, you used them very well. The same Donald Trump who's also been complaining about innocent lives being killed in Gaza. It's so weird. I mean, he's done well with this peace plan, and I think you need to give him credit where it's due. But my goodness, to be celebrating giving weapons to Israel, and you want to tell us that they've used them very well, and yet you yourself in your administration at some point were concerned about just international law being violated by Israel. You yourself, as Donald Trump, was frustrated, even used the F word. Remember when he was frustrated by what Israel is continuing to do? Anyway, Bibi, whatever Bibi wants, gets. I mean, he says, yeah, Bibi used to call me and say, I want this weapon, I want this one. Some of the weapons the US has not even ever manufactured before, but Bibi Netanyahu had to get whatever he wants. It's like a little child who's crying for I don't know what. And you've got to give it to them, because otherwise if you don't, clearly there's going to be trouble there. So how did you feel about yesterday, just watching the hostages and the prisoners being exchanged? And how hopeful are you that this peace plan will succeed? And what do you think can make this peace plan to succeed? I'm interested in your thoughts on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. General Shadrack Sibiya, the Deputy Police Commissioner, appeared before the Parliamentary Committee yesterday. He said some really interesting and revealing things, and I'm interested to know what piqued your interest yesterday. He was asked about Brown Bohotsi, and he confirmed that the man has come to his hotel to have breakfast with him and shared some info. The man has shared some information with him. He's also been asked about Kat Matlala, and he's confirmed that he actually does know Kat Matlala. They've met about 5 times or so. There's so much. I've got some thoughts on this, but I'll tell you in a moment, because I think for me, I always want to connect the dots. And I'm going to try do that even again based on what we've heard from Shadrack Sibiya.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
So take a listen to what Shadrack Sibiya said yesterday when he appeared before that parliamentary committee. He was asked about Brown Bohotsi, and he confirmed that, in fact, he has called him, and Brown Bohotsi has also called Shadrack Sibiya, and they've met before at Shadrack Sibiya's hotel for breakfast.
Do you know Brown Bohotsi?
I know Brown Bohotsi.
How do you know him?
Brown Bohotsi, I know him as an activist in Northwest, but I didn't know him. I also Googled him and I saw him at some point. He was commenting and making it was an interview, but relating to the former premier and Gauteng, former premier of Northwest, and he also contacted me. Remember that he would also collect some information there around there, what is going on, whether be it the tender-related corruptions there or concerns that he had, and then also he ended up also aiding the fact that I just also want to warn you that you must know that the intelligence people are working on you. They are busy in your case after you. I knew about it, and then he was just telling me something that I was aware of. And I even spoke to the National Commissioner about it at some point. I said, NASCOM, I just got this strange call from this person. He says he's Brown. I didn't know Brown Bohotsi, but he said he's Brown. And then we were leaving his office, and the National Commissioner said, let's keep on listening to him and let's hear what he says. And I didn't entertain it further.
What is your relationship, if any, with Brown Bohotsi?
No, don't have a relationship.
Senior counsel, just before you proceed, General, are you saying that he called you?
Called me. You called me, Chair.
And he informed you that the intelligence people are listening to you or are investigating you?
Yes, Chair, and that was the case.
Without you having had a discussion with him before about a matter like that?
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
I had not even met him, not even once. Even my records can show.
But he phoned you.
He did call me.
So his phone will show that. His phone will show that he phoned you.
Yes, the record can indicate that. The records are there, they should be there.
Yeah. So how does he get your number? I mean, no, a senior person like you in the police, I'm sure a lot of our citizens would want to phone higher ups and frustrated because a crime is not being addressed or followed up or solved, and then they want to phone higher up. Now, you don't know this guy?
Counsel, I don't know this guy. I never contacted him before, and you do get it because at this level, you get calls from citizens of this country, and they will tell you that I'm so-and-so, I've been given your number by so-and-so and so-and-so.
So that's what he was saying, explaining how he knows Brown Mkhwanazi. And then he went further to say he's come to his hotel during the January 8 ANC celebrations. He was staying at a hotel and Brown Mkhwanazi came. They had breakfast there. But he says Brown Mkhwanazi has shared information with him. Like, as a top cop, wouldn't you want to know how a member of the public has information about intelligence officers? And did Shadrach Sibiya investigate how Mkhwanazi gathered that information? He was also asked about Nhlanhla and whether he knows him.
We are not friends, or we were not friends. But at the same time, I was getting to know him. I wasn't really, if ever I've met, in my whole life, I've met Mr. Nhlanhla, it is 5 times less. He's not someone that I was really close to. It was just the beginning of knowing each other more. So my interactions with him is really very, very, very limited.
Yeah. He says I was going to know him more. Guys, do you know who Nhlanhla is? Okay, maybe we must try and connect the dots, right? Because Nhlanhla is accused of being part of a syndicate that looted 2 billion rand from Tembisa Hospital. The top cop, the deputy police commissioner, wants to know more, someone who's accused of such heinous crimes. After the break, we'll try and connect the dots. I'll also get your responses to what happened in the Middle East yesterday. John, Abi, I see you. I'll start with you after the break.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
25 minutes after 9 o'clock. John, let's start with you, calling from Davidton. Good morning.
Hello, Clement.
Hey, Tada.
Yeah, I'm shocked by the cynicism of Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
The fact that that's one advantage. The fact that many prisoners, even those who were sentenced for 20 years and more, have been released is good. But you cannot trust Trump. But that in its own is good. What I'm worried about, why do they want Hamas to disarm when they are arming Israel? How many people died just before this agreement? It was worse than anything. And we must say Trump has brought freedom to the Palestinians. Yes, but we still have to wait for a long time to see whether it works.
Yeah, that's true, John. But also, it's not just freedom we're talking about. I think it's too early to even talk about freedom. Because also, what is freedom for the Palestinians who have nothing left of their nation? But Trump has also brought bloodshed, if we're being honest, in the Middle East, in Gaza, because they have supplied the very weapons that Israel has used to kill to kill innocent civilians. Thousands and thousands of them. Thousands of children who have died as a result of the weapons that Donald Trump has provided, or even the US, not just Donald Trump, even under the administration of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Diale. They have enabled Israel to cause the very same devastation that they have decried. And now they're coming and saying, we have found a solution. Now, let's wait and see if that peace deal is going to hold. But whether you hate Trump or not, that's besides the point. The reality here is he managed to sit on the table, the different opposing parties, and they agreed to some kind of a peace plan. Which world leader has been able to do that? And maybe this is all choreographed. Who knows? Maybe they knew that at this particular point, we're going to intervene and come up with a plan that we know Hamas was not going to say no to. Anything is possible with what we've seen so far. But there's a relief. There are families who had their loved ones being kept by Hamas as hostages. They've been released. There are families in Palestine who have had their loved ones arrested, some without even being charged. About 2,000 of those have been released. There's been a pause on this bombardment of Gaza. That is a relief. And that is a result of a peace plan that was proposed by Donald Trump. Now you've got world leaders that were in Egypt also signing off and saying, how do we make this ceasefire plan be cemented? Whether it will hold, we wait and see. AB, you're calling us from KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Clement, yes, I do believe that the whole thing was choreographed and it was just a big scam. But I'll try to be very quick. Some people may be wondering how come the U.S. supports Israel so strongly. The U.S. gives it $3.2 billion every year, and just in the past 2 years donated $31 billion in arms for the genocide. And it raises its hand at the UN to veto any call for a ceasefire. And how come the war criminal Netanyahu received 54 standing ovations when he addressed the U.S. Congress? How come? Well, the answer actually came up in the long rambling speech of Trump in the Parliament of Israel, the Knesset, yesterday. At one point, he acknowledged an American lady in the audience and asked her to stand up and praised her for strong support for Israel. Who's the lady? Her name is Miriam Edelson. And Trump laughingly blurted out that she's worth $60 billion. She and her husband own a whole string of gambling establishments. Trump forgot to say that in the 2016 presidential election campaign, Miriam's husband, Sheldon, donated $100 million to Trump's campaign. The moment Trump entered the White House, he declared that the U.S. recognizes Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel. Remember that East Jerusalem in international law is regarded as occupied territory. He also declared the Syrian Golan Heights, which Israel captured in the 1967 war, as belonging to Israel. In last year's election campaign, Miriam Edelson donated $103 million to Trump's campaign. Is it therefore no wonder that Trump bought and paid off, gives full support to Israel and fueled the genocide with billions of dollars and weapons and protection at the UN? And Clement, very quickly, may I add that the powerful pro-Israel lobby groups in America donate huge amounts to each U.S. Congress member. These are not conspiracy theories. A simple Google search will confirm that is openly discussed in the United States.
AB in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, thank you for your call. It's 9:30. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. I've got some more calls and WhatsApps coming through, also responding to Shadrach Sibiya's testimony yesterday in Parliament. We'll connect those dots as well, and I'm interested in what piqued your interest yesterday. How did you find his testimony and what he has had to say, particularly in relation to these problematic characters that he's associated with, Brown Bukhosi and Ket Matlala?
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Your calls on 011-883-0702 on the 702 open line. Your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
Morning, claiming Joburg. Yeah, he says he didn't know him. He has to Google him. Huh? We just Google people and then we met them in the hotel rooms somewhere. Then we don't know them. And the same person gives me information that there are people who are investigating me. There are people who are on to me. Then he come and tell us that he don't know him. This guy can do better, man. Severe. I listened to him yesterday, but he was not convincing. No, we are late. We are in deep trouble. Have a great one, Clement.
Morning, Clement and the team. I'm sorry, but I've never seen someone fumble so many words for us to see. He fumbled and he fumbled and he fumbled. I feel like he's the most biggest liar. If there's truth, and maybe we don't know how lies look like, but this guy, wow. Like, 1 minute he's saying this, then he contradicts what he just said, and I kid you not, he kept moving. Like, I swear, if a lie detector test person had to see that man, he'd say, there, he's lying there. I'm telling you, other than that, maybe we're stupid. I don't know.
Clement, I trust you well. Look, if one pays attention to CBR's body language, it really says it all. It says it all than what meets the eye. He is not convincing as someone who is innocent. The chap knows something. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Let's see what he has to say moving forward. Thanks, Clement.
Hi, Clement and the team. Isn't that we will be unfair to General Sibia? Because even General Mkhwanazi once said that he received a WhatsApp message from Nhlanhla Libo Molefe. So don't you think that, but we didn't ask General Mkhwanazi, where did they got his number? So, yeah, David.
Yeah, I think you make a fair point, David. In fact, remember there was a time when Malcolm X, the super consultant, I should say, in sentence said that he had called General Mkhwanazi, and or that General Mkhwanazi also tried to call him, returning his call, and he missed his call, something along those lines. So I think it's a fair point to be asking, okay, how did these people get your number? But I can tell you, it's not really difficult to also get numbers of, police commissioners or deputy police commissioners or provincial commissioners, especially for people who seemingly seem to be so connected with other political players. So it's very easy to do that. But I think you're right. The question must be asked across the board. What's clear here, number one, is there are factions in the SAPS, and this is not the first time there are factions. You can already tell that there's a group here, right? And then there's another group here, and both are going head to head against each other, right? And both of them had tried to use their powers, right, to try and go after the other. Dumisani Khumalo is the head of crime intelligence, who is clearly here with General Mkhwanazi. And they tried to they arrested him in a dramatic fashion at OR Tambo International Airport. IDEC seems to believe that there's a serious case against Dumisani Khumalo. General Dumisani Khumalo. We'll find out when IDEC hopefully takes a stand at the Nhlanhla Commission, or if they're going to be in the parliamentary inquiry. But then you also have the Deputy National Police Commissioner, Fanima Samola, also part of that group. Now you've got the Deputy National Commissioner, who seems to be aligning himself more with the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu. So it's going to be interesting what continues to come out. But let's try to connect the dots based on what Shadrack Sibia has said so far, right? Let's start with Ket Matlala, because he says he's met Ket Matlala about 5 times or so. Ket Matlala is accused of being part of a syndicate that looted about 2 billion rand from Tembisa Hospital. He's in prison now because the police say he is linked to the murder of DJ Sambodi. Police have also have him on charges of attempted murder because they believe he organized the hit on his ex-girlfriend, Debogo Tobejani, right? Now, why was he trying to kill his ex-girlfriend, Ket Matlala? Why was he trying to kill his ex-girlfriend? Well, the ex-girlfriend, Debogo Tobejani, says that's because Ket knows that she was aware that Ket is the one that organized the hit on Babita Deokaran. That's what she told the police in the affidavit. That the man wanted to kill me because I know he was responsible for Babita Deokaran's murder. Now, who is Babita Deokaran? She is the whistleblower that revealed that 2 billion rand was being looted at Tembisa Hospital. At the time, it wasn't even at that amount. But she was flagging certain suspicious transactions and tenders at the Tembisa Hospital. She was killed in a hail of bullets outside her home. This was after the criminals she flagged realized that she was onto them. They realized that this woman is coming for us. Now, back to Shadrack Sibiya. What is the Deputy National Commissioner doing getting to know a man like Ket Matlala? Because he says we've met about 5 times and I was getting to know him. I was knowing him more. What is the top cop, a Deputy National Commissioner, doing to get to know a man like Ket Matlala? The man that is being accused of such heinous crimes. Did he not do any homework to check who this man is as a police officer? Okay, forget Ket Matlala. Let's talk about the businessman Serge Kabonge, right? Because the Shadrack Sibiya says, well, Ket Matlala had gotten a tender at one of the SAPS hospitals or clinics, so everybody knows him. Let's put him aside. Let's talk about Serge Kabonge, whom I interviewed on this show. He told me that he's close friends with Shadrack Sibiya. This is the same Serge Kabonge that is friends or business associates with Ket Matlala. Who is the mutual friend between Serge and Ket? It's Shadrack Sibiya. What is he doing with these characters? Serge Kabonge told me on this show that he's also friends with Hangwani Maumela. Who's Hangwani Maumela? The guy the SIU went to his house just the other day and attached those Lamborghinis, or as that lady said on Friday, Lamborghinis. And then there's Brown Mkhwanazi, the man who has been talking to the man who has been talking to Ket Matlala and promising him his troubles will be over when the TAS team gets disbanded. That same Brown Mkhwanazi has met with who? Shadrack Sibiya at Sibiya's hotel in January. So I ask you, who is the common associate between Brown Mkhwanazi and Ket Matlala? It's Shadrack Sibiya. So to be clear, the Deputy National Commissioner, Shadrack Sibiya, is friends with Serge Kabonge, who is friends with Ket and Hangwani, who are accused of looting 2 billion rand from Tembisa. But also General Sibiya is not only associated with Ket through Serge. He had a direct relationship with him. That's why he says they've met 5 times. He also has a direct relationship with Brown Mkhwanazi. They've had breakfast at his hotel. These 2 people were worried about the political killing stars team, Ket and Mkhwanazi. And guess who was spearheading the disbandment of the political killing stars team? Shadrack Sibiya. Even though he says that he has done that for reasons other than to protect the criminals that the TAS team was investigating. So what picture does that paint for you when you have a top cop like that associating with people who not only some are behind bars, but people who also are accused of having killed a heroic whistleblower who tried to expose a corruption that involved the looting of about 2 billion rand from Tembisa Hospital. The people being accused of the syndicate of looting that money somehow seem to be associated directly or indirectly with the top cop. And he says, I wanted to know him. We were still getting to know each other. What picture does that paint for you? It's 15 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Patrick, you're calling from Kempton Park. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
All right, man. Go ahead.
All right. Man, just a layman on the street. I don't know if there's any general who can claim not to know Ket Matlala. Because Ket Matlala won the tender of SAPS and he was supplying them with a service. So surely everybody knows him in the SAPS. Who say doesn't know him? Maybe not close to him, but they all know him. All those generals all know him. He won the tender. He was dealing with the SAPS.
Do the generals know every single person who got a tender in the SAPS? You know how big the SAPS is? Probably one of the biggest departments, right? So are you suggesting that the generals in the SAPS then know all of these guys who get tenders from the SAPS?
Well, I'm not saying so, but I'm saying Nhlanhla, with that big tender he got in the SAPS, surely most of the generals know him. Most of them know him. They might not know him, all of them, but most of them, they know him very well.
So what about others who received bigger tenders? Do they know those people too?
They know. Come again?
I'm saying, what about other business people who have received tenders that are bigger than what Nhlanhla received? So the generals would know them too.
In the organization, whoever won the tender is published.
Yeah, I know. I hear that, Patrick. But I'm saying
they know.
So they know. Okay. And then the generals would also meet with those people like for about 5 times and get to know them.
We just didn't ask most of them, but most of them they met themselves because they say the guy was working with the police. Remember, he was doing a service to the police.
Fanny says he didn't. Also, you don't meet with deputy police commissioners just because you got a tender from the SAPS. That's not how it works. So if the deputy national commissioner says I was still getting to know this person, why? For what reason is it?
Remember the guy again said what? He's information collector. He's collecting information. He can talk to anyone to get information.
Okay, so he was collecting information from Nhlanhla. Yes. And even from Brown.
No. Remember the guy works in intelligence.
Who?
Doesn't he work in the intelligence, crime intelligence?
Who's this? Sibia. Well, he's the deputy national commissioner.
So how do you gather information? You talk to all the criminals.
Oh, that's not what he said yesterday in Parliament. He's not saying I met with Nhlanhla because I'm trying to gather information. He said I met with Nhlanhla about 5 times and I was still getting to know him.
But don't they do that naturally by meeting the criminals, talking to them to get more information out of them?
And at least they must say so then. At least they must say so. You know, the same way that with Brown Mkhwanazi, he says, I met with Graham Mkhwanazi because he had information about some intelligence officers. Even that I find to be weird. I mean, if someone calls you as a top cop and they tell you that there are intelligence officers behind you, the first thing I would want to do is, first of all, who are you? Second of all, where did you get that information? Because you're not even in the SAPS. But that's not his approach. In fact, his approach is, okay, you can come over to my hotel. Let's have breakfast. With a man you don't even know?
So something I realize as well is that those evidence leaders there, they don't lead us to anywhere. Because those questions you asked, they should have asked that.
Yeah, but today the MPs are going to ask. Yeah, I think, Patrick, let's wait for today. Yeah.
Let's hope so.
It's so disappointing sometimes when you're listening to the evidence leader not ask follow-up questions. Because some statements are made and there's no... I mean, even with General Mkhwanazi, I felt it was worse. I just felt the evidence leader was out of his depth. There are certain questions that needed to be asked. There's follow-up questions that needed to be asked. There was none of that, in my view. In fact, if anything, when the politicians, the MPs were beginning to ask questions, that's when we were beginning to move somewhere and get clarity on other issues. But this time around, I think maybe the evidence leader is getting more comfortable. But still, there are some key questions that need to be answered, some follow-up questions that must be made too. But today, members of parliament are going to be putting questions to Shadrach Sibia, and I suspect there's probably going to be more that comes out today because, they won't be holding back, I suspect. It's 10 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go back to your WhatsApp voice notes.
Clement, anonymous here. As people who are investigating, we receive calls from anyone. People want to give us information, and all of a sudden they will say to people, I know that one. She works at a certain place. She's my friend. And she'll be giving you information and she'll be trying to get favors. Those things happen. I believe about 90% of what Sibia is saying.
90%. Okay. I think there's more. Hopefully that's still going to come out. Let's wait to hear what the MPs are going to ask today. But also, when General Sibia goes to the Nhlanhla Commission, we'll hear some more details. But what's clear here, my friends, is that we're witnessing a war between colleagues. There are factions in the SAPS that are fighting hard. And this is something I said from the beginning as well. And I mean, I'm particularly grateful for the revelations we've seen. I think we've been able to sort of connect the dots around the people that are involved, the people that have used their links to these top cops to try and probably evade some accountability. That has helped us a lot. But that also has come with just the fight that's been happening within the SAPS. And that's what happens. They start arresting each other. They start going to each other's houses and doing all sorts of things because it's a fight that's underway. And I hope at the end of the day, we're going to get a Nhlanhla commission and a parliamentary inquiry that helps us with overhauling and restarting this incredible institution in South Africa's democracy, this police service. Kwabena, you are calling us from Little Falls. You want to comment on the issue in the Middle East. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Yeah, my point is that it's unfair to say the United Nations failed where Trump has succeeded, because most of the United Nations Security Council resolutions on Gaza were vetoed by the U.S. Secondly, when Trump arrived on the scene, there was already a plan in place which was going into the second phase, which involved the same exchange of the rest of the hostages for the prisoners and the pullback of the Israeli army. It was the same Trump who advised Netanyahu not to go into that second phase, which prolonged the war. Maybe some of the dead hostages probably would be alive if that second phase had been implemented. And lastly, Trump's plan has introduced some impossible things, like the disarming of Hamas not being part of the future of Gaza, which is their homeland. Some of these things are deliberately introduced into the plan by Trump to give Netanyahu an excuse to go back in there at a certain point and resume the war. So before everybody, jumps on Trump's bad one, I think things should be put in perspective.
So, a few things there, Kwabena. When you say that Trump arrived to a second phase of the deal, who negotiated this first phase of the deal that we have seen now?
That deal was negotiated by Biden's administration.
Which deal?
There was a deal between...
Yeah, but that didn't go through. The first deal...
Remember the first phase of that deal involved the stage-by-stage release of the hostages.
Yes, it didn't hold.
There were several ceasefires and certain numbers of hostages were released.
Yes, but Kwabena, even John Biden said...
There was a second phase.
Even Joe Biden said during that time, because that's the time when he was about to leave office, it was in December, Trump was about to come in Jan. Even Joe Biden said Trump's envoy played a critical role in those negotiations.
Yes, they did play a role. But the second phase was never implemented.
Yes, but that deal is gone. So you can't want to use the deal that was negotiated and failed a year or so ago. You want to use it now.
Because Netanyahu was advised not to go into the second phase. Remember, he insisted on going back to the first phase.
Yes, but Kwabena, there's a new deal right now as we speak. So that deal, who negotiated that deal that has seen the hostages being released right now? Was it not Donald Trump?
Fine. That's amazing. But what I'm saying is that this could have been done earlier.
Absolutely.
And maybe some of the dead hostages could have been saved.
Absolutely. Nobody disagrees with you there. But let's be factual. Donald Trump is the one who negotiated this current deal. And on the United Nations, I've said before, I even had a conversation for a year on the show. I think the United Nations has failed us fundamentally. And the reason I say it's failed us is because it's failing to even reform the Security Council. The architecture of the United Nations as it stands now enables these powerful countries to veto the resolutions. So the minute the United Nations also becomes serious about reforming its architecture, then we are probably going to see a situation where it becomes the multilateral institution that it's been intended and formed for.
That I agree with you 100%. But in this particular instance, it's the same lack of reform in the UN, which allowed the US to veto all the resolutions on Gaza.
Yeah, and also Russia, because there are other powerful countries in the Security Council who use their power, and it's not just been the United Nations. But guys, whether you hate Trump or not, he made sure on the table there are opposing factors. Right now, any living hostage is no longer with Hamas. Right now, 2,000 plus or so Palestinians who were detained, most of whom without being charged, are no longer in Israeli prisons. That's because there's a first phase that was negotiated here. Now we wait for the second phase. Nobody says the US doesn't have blood on his hands. I actually believe that they've enabled this onslaught on Gaza. But here we are now, whether it was choreographed or not. And we wait to see if the second phase is actually going to hold. It's a minute before 10.